Saudi Arabia has condemned an alleged sabotage attack against its tankers in the Gulf region. The kingdom's foreign ministry has called the reported incident a dangerous threat to navigation and international security. The United Arab Emirates says that 4 commercial vessels were hit by, quote, sabotage attacks near the port city of Fujairah, that's off its eastern coast. The Saudi energy minister said 2 of the kingdom's oil tankers were among the targets. Now, the alleged incidents come amidst rising tensions between Iran and the U.S. Tehran has called for a probe into who's responsible for the alleged assaults. For more, I'm joined now by our political correspondent, Rupert Viederwald. Good morning to you, Rupert.
Good morning.
With tensions rising right now, how concerned is Europe? Can you give us some insights there?
Europe is very concerned that this region, which is considered to be a powder keg, that this region could go into a war by accident in the end. And what we have seen in the last 2 weeks is that the United States have brought in additional forces into the Persian Gulf. They brought in additional ships from their fleet. And we have seen rising tensions not only between Iran and the United States, but also between Saudi Arabia and Iran. These 2 regional powers there, they have been fighting for power in this region, who's going to be the most powerful state in this region for years now. And when we have seen the saboteur attacks here, no one really has said this has been Iran, but it is clear in between the lines that the Saudi Arabians and their allies are blaming Iran for this. Iran is already saying ill thinkers shouldn't try to blame us.
It wants an investigation.
It wants an investigation, and they are saying this could, in the end, be something that sparks something that we can't control anymore. And this is really concerning, especially for Berlin and the Europeans, because they say as soon as the Persian Gulf starts a war, we are going to be the ones that suffer most, because we are the ones that are going to see the implications, not other powers in the world, saying the US.
Okay, now, with speculation, exactly the speculation that you mentioned about these incidents swirling, U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo is making a surprise visit to Brussels. EU foreign ministers are meeting there today as Europe tries to salvage the landmark nuclear deal with Iran. Now, that's after the U.S. pulled out completely and Iran itself partially withdrew. The issue is proving a headache for European leaders.
Last week's informal summit in Romania was supposed to be about setting a strategic agenda for the EU. But the assembled leaders had to grapple with the Iran issue first. They stressed the need for diplomacy.
We have to be very realistic about the means we have. But all I can say about Iran is that this country, with its recognition of a diplomatic approach, has a chance to make clear that it wants peaceful solutions. In my view, it's also in Iran's interest to continue to honor this agreement.
Under the 2015 nuclear deal, Iran agreed to let the International Atomic Energy Agency monitor its nuclear facilities and enrich uranium only for civilian purposes. In return, economic sanctions on the country were lifted. The International Atomic Energy Agency says Iran has been meeting its side of the bargain, but the U.S. withdrew from the deal last year and reinstated sanctions. Now, Iran is threatening to enrich its uranium closer to weapons-grade levels.
If these countries return to the table within 60 days, and we reach agreement on oil sales and banking, then we will uphold our side of the nuclear deal.
Given everything else on the EU's table, including upcoming European parliamentary elections, that leaves little room for the bloc to maneuver.
Rupert, Germany and the EU signatories to the Iran nuclear deal want to salvage it. They want to keep it alive. What are the chances they can do that at this point with tensions rising?
Well, the Europeans are a little bit in between lines here. And to the Europeans, this Iran nuclear deal was a huge success back in 2015. They were the one that pushed it through, that hammered out the deal. And to see it crippling right now, to see it going to pieces, is for them a great big problem, especially as they have tried quite a lot since the last year, since the United States withdrew from the agreement. They tried to install a trade agency which was supposed to work around the US sanctions, but in the end it didn't really work out, as they can't really force their companies to make business with Iran. But it still is very important for them, and the let's say the Foreign Secretary of Europe today said, Federica Mogherini said, this is going to be something really important for her, and they want to work on it. We have to, we could listen to her right now.
Okay, let's do that.
Or not.
It has been and continues to be for us a key element of non-proliferation, the non-proliferation architecture, both globally and in the region. So we'll continue to support it as much as we can with all our instruments and all our political will. This is very well known, I think, both in Washington and in Tehran.
Okay, that's the foreign secretary person for the EU right now, speaking this morning. So when you take that into consideration, what's the state of discussions right now on Iran between the EU and the other main player in all of this, the United States?
Well, the state has been really bad. The EU felt a little bit out of the loop. At least Foreign Secretary Mike Pompeo of the United States is traveling to Brussels today, and he wants to meet with the EU signatory powers, which are France, the United Kingdom and Germany, to discuss Iran. Whatever he has on offer, we don't know, and we don't really know if the Europeans have anything to offer for him, especially as the United States have pointed out in the past that they are firm and that they don't want to have this agreement anymore, at least if the Iran is not moving. So there's not very much space to maneuver for the Europeans right now.
Okay, Rupert, thanks very much for bringing us up to date on all of this. Rupert Wiedewald from our political desk this morning.